Hi guys, I hope you're all doing well today. Today's blog is basically going to be me going about different kind of assessment methods. The reason being why I'm doing this blog is because I know for colleges a lot of people will be getting on to their first assignments soon, particularly for those in HNC. The assignments, there's so many of them. Like I had to do like 19 assignments in my HNC and it was all very stressful. And you can get assignments in like different formats and everything, and it is a massive jump up from level six as well. Like you get a lot of assignments in level six, but I usually found they were quite doable. But in HNC, there's so much stress, so much for us to go into the essays and everything. So I thought it'd be good to do a blog on different types of assessments to expect, like in HNC level. But it could help for other things as well. It could help for other uni classes or other college courses or even lower levels. So I thought this would probably help for everyone, not just those on social science. I hope this will help a lot of people with assessments starting to come up and deadlines getting on. So yeah, so I hope you guys enjoy this blog. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more content. Let's go. So for those of you who have subscribed to my channel for a while will know that I did a HNC in social sciences, and would know that took a big toll on my mental health. I got to the point that I overstudied so much that I got burnt out every day. I'd have headaches all the time. I'd always feel sick. This video is not going to be on like the mental health aspect of things, but going to be on like different essay formats. So I'm going to be doing like essays, PowerPoint, some quizzes. There's another one as well I was going to do, and I can't remember it for the life of me. Oh, academic poster. That's it came to me eventually. And I'm going to be doing some other ones as well. I'm going to just be talking lots of formats of different essays and how to do them and how to go about them. Because at HNC, it's not just about writing the essay, but you've got to be in a certain word count as well. And you've got to remember your references and in-text references. There's a lot more things you have to remember at HNC level compared to level 6 and 5 level. So I thought it'd be good for me to go through this, not just for HNC students, but even for those who are at level 5 and 6 who watch this blog. You may think, oh, I have to do this at HNC, and it may help you for like moving forward. So I thought this would be a really good idea, since I know that essays, there's a lot of essays and a lot of work to submit after the October break, and we're on the October break just now for colleges since my boyfriend's off on October break. So I thought this would be the perfect time to do it. So yeah, I'm just going to be going by one at a time. So I'm going to start off with the most basic one, which is essays. First assessment format I'm going to talk about is essay writing, which is the most simple one. Almost every single course does this. It's like academic based. This is going to help for a lot of people, not just those on HNC social sciences. So I'm going to like go step by step on how to like write a good essay. Well, obviously you can go by all these steps and your essay may still not turn out well because that happens from time to time, but to give you the best chance, I'm going to go through this step by step. So basically what you want to do first is when you get like when you the assessment gets published and you've got like the questions, what you're best to do is read through all the questions first and make sure you understand everything. And if there's any parts you don't understand, and that's the time for you to like ask the lecturers questions, like because most of the time they'll probably publish it during class time. So when they like give it out to you, like you're better to just read through it all carefully in that time. If you've got any questions or any bits you don't understand, that's the time to ask and like get the help you need before you actually even get into writing an essay or anything like that. So before you even think about all that, just like read through the questions thoroughly, make sure you understand everything you're doing. And if you completely understand it, then you can start making a start to your essay. But even at that point though, I would say like then go on to my learning or go to the library and look through textbooks and different articles online, things like that, and try and get um, articles that relate to the question. Like, for example, if you look at question one, whatever the question is on, try and find articles and books that link to question one and write down the references that go with them. So, for example, make sure you have your references done like done thoroughly before you even get to the essay part, because you start writing the essay and then you got like a really good, let's say you got a really good online website for like your book for like your essay. And just imagine though if you forget to put the date of the article down and then the article changes, like it changes the stuff that gets changed in the online source, and then because you don't have the date you can't use it, because if you've forgotten the date then you can't really use it. Or for example, if you haven't got like the link for it and it gets lost, you know what I mean? So you got to make sure you have your references completely written down before you even do it, because it'll save a lot of stress at the end. Believe me, quite often students will just do their references at the last minute, but don't be that student. Even if it's like a reference for a book, just get all written down and all getting put together. If you want help with like referencing, for our college anyway, there was like help for it on the My Learning page for like online referencing and book referencing. And quite often they'll do workshops in this as well. You might have already had a workshop where they go on about how to reference a book and like an online source, but they say like to try and stick to books when you first start HNC till you get like confident with referencing, since book referencing is easier to do than online referencing and all that. Anyway, you can look all that up, because like even I'm having a mind blank. I can't exactly remember how to do it, but I have got them written down on a sheet of paper. So when I go to university, I'll remember how to do it, but click fast because I've done it before, you know what I mean? But yeah, get your references together before you even start writing an essay. Then the next stage after doing like your references, and make sure to put in-text references. Some subjects want these, some don't, but it's better to put it down anyway. So for the in-text reference, it'd be the name of the book or the online website, and then it'd be like the year. And if you're like quoting, like if you're taking a quote from that book or that article, then you'd need to put the page number as well. But if you're not quoting it, you don't have to put the page number. It'd just be the 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 name of the article or book and the year. But yeah, that's if it's required for that class. And sometimes you have to do a biography, or sometimes you just do references. A biography is basically all the references you've looked through for the entire essay, even the ones you're not going to use in the essay, you have to put them down. But it's just like a general reference list, and it's just the references you used for the actual essay piece, if you see what I mean, if you understand what I mean. I hope I explained that well. But yeah, then once you've done all your references, got it all together, got all the information you need for all the parts, and you feel like you're ready to go, then go for it. When it comes to the books as well, you're better off going to the index and getting the keywords, and then you find the keyword for the part you want. Say for example, you're looking for information on Karl Marx for like sociology. Just go to the back of like Karl Lampus, and find Karl Marx. His name will be highlighted at the back of the index. Find the page number for that, and you'll get a whole lot of information on him, and that'll help for that certain question. And then you've already got a load of information for that question, because like Karl Lampus, that's the main text for sociology, because all the classes have like main text. But yeah, you get where I'm coming from. So yeah, if you're going to use a book, go to the index and highlight the key text, and this will really help you. And on the computer, you can hit like two buttons. I think it's like CTRL, and there's another one as well. I can't remember. I did talk about that in another video. The last HNC video I did, well, college advice video. I'll put that in the link in my bio, so you can look at that as well to get some more help. But yeah, that's what you want to do. That's the second step. So the first step is actually reading through the questions firmly, making sure you understand it, then getting the references for the questions that link to those questions, either from books or online websites. And then once you've done that, you can make like a rough plan from the information you got. We just make a plan up, just scribble a few lines for each question on information you need, for example, but go part from parts. For example, there's like question one, there's like 3 different parts in it. So for example, the first part says something like how much sleep do you need to get at night? Well, we didn't have to talk about that obviously in agency. I'm just kind of making this up on the spot really. But say for example, how much sleep do you need to get at night? Well, the answer to that would be 78 hours. Obviously, that's a very simple question. We wouldn't go on that, but we did do a sleep unit in psychology, but wasn't quite as simple as that. But say for example, the question was, how much sleep do you mean at night? If you don't get enough sleep at night, what happens? So that's another. So how if you don't get enough sleep at night, what happens? That's the second part of the question. For example, on that certain question, if you see what I mean. So take the questions step by step. Just do one tiny step at a time, and get the information and write down the information you need for that step. Then write down the information for the second step. And I say at this point, when you're just doing a basic plan, just bullet point it, and like just bullet point the points that you need for those parts and that, and just break it down into little steps, and that will help you with putting it all together in the end. At this point, you can get your lecturers to check over your work, because lecturers can look over plans, because this is not like the main thing, you know what I mean? So this is the best time to get lectures to check over to see if you're going on the right path with it, and you're understanding it and everything. So I'd say definitely ask for help at this stage if you're a bit confused or whatever. And then the next stage, you'd be going on to your draft. So you'd be like drafting your essay. Drafting can take a lot of tense. You can draft the essay twice and be happy with it. You can draft it 5 times and still need to change it. You might have to draft it up to 10 times. It just depends how it goes. So when it comes to essays, the main steps are reading the questions firmly first. And the second part is get all your references together, get it all together, references and in-text references. You have to go back to that. Then do your basic plan, bullet point your plan and all that. At this stage as well, if you find there's some information missing, you can always go back and try and get some more references for the parts that are missing. So it's good to find out in the plan, and this is a time to like make mistakes and get things wrong because you're just planning it out, just a basic plan. And the draft is basically structuring the essay, putting it all together. But again, it's okay to make mistakes at this point because you're going to redraft it many times. And when it comes to the draft, make sure to be proofreading your essay constantly, making sure it all makes sense, and also make sure don't be using words that are too basic. For example, you can't use the word don't, you have to use do not because this is official English language. Or like, for example, don't use the word wouldn't, use would if, for example, you know what I mean? Or, well, would, you know what I mean? Don't be that student that uses the word can all the time instead of cannot, because lecturers find this so annoying because it's not like it even adds to the word count when you say cannot over can. So it starts to really annoy them. Obviously, when you do it in the first essay, it can be a general mistake, but if you constantly do it, they will get pretty annoyed at this. So make sure you're using official English language in your essay. Make sure you're properly proofreading it as well, making sure it makes sense. Don't just be proofreading at the last minute or just saying, oh, it doesn't matter. Because I was like that. I'd proofread my essay once and I'd be like, it's good, it's fine, I'll submit it. And then I'd find there'd be a lot of mistakes, there'd be a lot of things saying, this is not proper English, this is not spelt right. Even that, yeah, it's quite bad actually. And there'd be parts that just wouldn't be phrased well and be all over the place. So definitely redraft your essay as many times as you can. At least give yourself a couple of days to like draft your essay. So for example, you've got a 2-week deadline. You can spend like the first couple of days like trying to the first day thoroughly reading through the questions, make sure you understand it all, then maybe gather references in those couple of days, and then you'd be spending then you doing a little plan, take a few days to do that, and take a few days to like properly write up. At least give yourself a couple of days to redraft it, so you've got plenty of time to proofread it, even get someone else to proofread it for you, because it's always good to have a second to have a second pair of eyes to read it, make sure your references and in-text references are right, make sure it's all making sense, and once you're happy with it, just submit it, and fingers crossed it goes well. That's basically what you do with an essay, but please don't just jump to writing it like I did. I did that all the time. Actually go through the steps, get the references, read through the questions thoroughly, make sure you understand them, do your plans, get lecturers to look over that, and do your drafts. Draft it as many times. By the way, lecturers can't look over drafts because it's basically like marking a main essay. So if you want to get help from the lecturers, you're better to get help from them when it comes to the plan. You're not on your own. You can still ask for help. It's just that they can't look over drafts, and then draft it as many times as you want until you get the perfect essay. And also, when it comes to online resources, make sure they're accurate sources. Because when it comes to HNC, you can't just use any online resource. For example, you can't use Simple Psychology because that's not HNC level, so you can't use something like that. But when it comes to history, it's okay to use things like BBC Bite Size, or you can use like the NHS website. It has official websites. So make sure if you're going to use a website for HNC, that's fine to do. Make sure it's official website, because lecturers will get really frustrated if you use like websites that are not official, and they'll just give you the work back. And same if you go over the word count or go under the word count, if it's too far under or too far above, they'll give it back to you as well. So make sure you're going by the 10% word count. You can go 10% over and 10% under, but don't go too much over or too much under as well. The next assessment method I'm going to talk about is PowerPoint with audio, and this is my favourite type of assignment, and I'll tell you why. I just love doing PowerPoints. You can make them all colourful, you can make all the writing cool, you can add pictures to the PowerPoints. I just feel like it makes it so much more cheerier. And it's more fun for like lectures to mark as well. So I feel like PowerPoints are definitely the best type, in my opinion anyway. But yeah, basically for PowerPoints, for example, for the research and methodology assignment, we had to do like 8 to 10 PowerPoints, I think it was. And then you had to do the audio part. I can't remember how many words it was for the talking. I think it was like, how long was it? 6 to 8 minutes, maybe? Something along those lines. I'm just taking this assignment as an example, by the way. But basically, the thing with a PowerPoint is you've got to be talking more of the information and writing it. So, for example, you don't want more of your information. You don't want to have all your information in the PowerPoint and then talking it all. The information you talk has to be different to the information you put in the PowerPoint. Like, for example, when a lecture's like given like a lecture in a lecture theatre, that lecture will be adding on information to those PowerPoints. So the information they have on the PowerPoint, that's just on the PowerPoint. They will say it, they will talk about it, but they'll be adding other bits of information that are not in the PowerPoint as well. That's how you grab the student's attention. Well, it's the same for these assignments. So basically, for example, for one part of like the assignment, like when it comes to essays, thoroughly read the questions, make sure you understand it. So that part's the same, as well as doing your in-text references and like end references, like I said before. But what I'm going to talk about this bit is basically what you need to do is like just maybe a couple lines of information on like the first bit in the first question, for example. And then, for example, you may talk about another 4 lines of that information into your PowerPoint audio and present it. So, for example, I may talk about how unclean the environment is and how people need to take care of our environment more and need to put more pride into our environment. But then I may go into an audio PowerPoint and say, for example, in like shops, crypts aren't always filled right up to the top. They only fill them a quarter full, and then there's loads of air in them. This is bad to the environment as it adds on more plastic. I may talk about in the audio. Again, just an example. I'm kind of just going with this as I go along. But yeah, since I'm not in the college mode anymore, because I obviously left back in June. Yeah, basically a PowerPoint is basically a PowerPoint with audio. It's basically like you put a couple lines of information onto the PowerPoint, you add in pictures and colour, but there should be more information put into the audio play than what there should be in the actual PowerPoint slides, if you see what I mean. But yeah, it's basically what you do with a PowerPoint. And you don't really draft a PowerPoint really, like, because it's not like an essay where you're putting in a ton of information. You're just like talking it and putting a wee bit of information onto it. It's more like creating. You're like creating a PowerPoint. You're putting lots of personality and colour into it. It's fun. It is really good fun. And also, something I recommend is getting these, which are the word will come to my head. Sorry, my mind was drawing a complete blank then. So these are record cards. Basically, I use these when like filming PowerPoint slides. The reason being I use these is because the information that I like needed for like the PowerPoints, I can just write on here. Like for the audio parts, basically I'd write up the title of the question that I was going to be talking on, and then write information for that question. So I had it all split into parts, and it meant that when I was doing like the film, the audios for each of the parts, I can just flip through these papers like this and go through it. It was a really good guide to have actually, so I really recommend them for like just writing down small bits of information. Like the bits I was just putting onto the PowerPoint, I would just write down my notepad and then write that onto the PowerPoint, if you see what I mean. But the bits of information that I was using to actually talk through the audio, I'd write down on my record card so that all the information was separate and I wasn't getting confused. So I recommend getting these so you can like for like audio presentations. And for those of you who are not really too sure how you do all this, just like get like the Word app, I think it is, and you can get like PowerPoint on there. And basically you can actually film the audio on the PowerPoint app. Like there's like an audio button you can go into. I can't remember how you go into it. I think you go into insert or something and it gives you the audio. Then you can just connect the audio to all the PowerPoints. And you can get pictures obviously from online, but you have to make sure to reference the pictures if you get them from the internet. make sure you put the references at the end for not just for the. So for when it comes to the PowerPoint slide, you can't just put the you can't just do the referencing for the information. You have to do the referencing for the pictures as well, since that is taking stuff from somewhere else. You know what I mean? So you have to do that as well. So it's good to have a separate, like, when you do the referencing for PowerPoint, have a separate bit for the information and a separate referencing bit for the pictures, so you're not getting confused. But yeah, the whole point of a PowerPoint really is just make it colourful, make it cheery, put in some pictures, make sure to reference them, like, do your information, do your in-text references at the end of each bit of information, and like do your references at the end as usual, and just have separate bits, have separate record cards for your audio and your information, and just and make sure to have, when you're talking in the audio as well, to sound enthusiastic and to like just make sure you're talking clearly and everything. And yeah, that's all PowerPoint is really, and it's fun. It's like different from essay. It's a lot less stressful, that's for sure. Whenever I did like a PowerPoint presentation, I'd always like do really well every time, if not pass, like first time. You know, when it came to essays, I found that I'd always get stressed out because there was so many parts to do and you had to stick to a strict word count, and especially when it was like a really long essay, sometimes you go well above it and have to cut down so many words. It's not so hard to cut down word count when it comes to a PowerPoint. I think it's a lot more easier and flexible to use, and yeah, it's definitely my favourite format. Next, I'm going to talk about academic posters, which you may think is a similar thing to PowerPoints, but it's slightly different. So basically, an academic poster, instead of it being like 8 to 10 slides or whatever it is, an academic poster is just the one slide on its own, and usually it contains information and pictures. Sometimes when you do an academic poster, you might need to put audio in as well and have separate information like that. But in some cases, when you do an academic poster, it's just the information, the poster, and the pictures, and that's it. But usually, you'd need to do like a few lines of information for each part, and then have like a picture next to each bit of information to kind of like bring it to life and everything. So yeah, an academic poster is basically like a visual kind of poster. Like if you're a visual learner, this type of assessment is definitely for you. It's something you'll probably really enjoy. But again, it's like you do the in-text references at the end and do your references for your pictures and your information separately at the end. But yeah, an academic poster is basically is like a PowerPoint in a way, but you kind of have to have it structured in a certain way. So for example, with our history academic poster, I remember we had like a bit of information this side, another bit of information that side, had 2 bits of information down here and 2 bits of information up here. So it was like, I think it was like 6 bits of information or something like that. And we had to do audio for it as well, so we had to kind of like talk some of the information for each part as well. So it's like each part had like audio information and information just generally, and we had to like put pictures in each part. But yeah, an academic poster is basically like a PowerPoint, except that it's just the one slide, and it's a bit more particular in how you have to structure it. Like you have to usually structure it in a certain way, and sometimes you have to do audio for it, but sometimes you don't. But it is the same type of thing, but just more just the one slide. The next assessment format I'm going to talk about is quizzes. Now, this is not as common. Well, we had to do it like for Teams forms and that, but there was only one time we actually had to do a quiz for assignment, and that was a sociology, crime and obedience assignment, which was a 24-hour one. Could be back to normal this year due to some things being a bit more normal, but I don't really know how they're doing it this year. Sorry, I'm sitting on my foot. But basically, quizzes are quite fun because the good thing about it is if you don't know the answer, it's multiple choice. You can just like pick a different answer, you know. Basically every single answer was multiple choice apart from like the last few. We had to like summarize strengths and weaknesses. We had to do like a strength and weaknesses for each theory. So we had to do strengths and weaknesses and all the theories and studies at the end of it, but the rest of it was just multiple choice. They were displayed like 3 or 4 different questions. We just had to like pick 1 or even 2 or 3 depending on what the question was asking. There was like a 60 questions, so it was quite a lot. It was quite a long quiz. So even though it sounds like a short thing, it actually went on for a long time. But basically all you do with a quiz assignment is just like, you have to like study for it, obviously, put the work in obviously, but you're just like picking an answer for each question. it's multiple choice, so you don't know the answer, at least you can give it a guess. It's basically like the chase when you when you go into the table, you have like the answers all in front of you, like three different answers it is. And you just pick one, and if you don't know the answer, just pick it and hope for the best. So that's all the quizzes are really. That's me basically going through all the main assignments that we did for H&C. It basically was just them four types we did. We did do one group work assignment of social anthropology, but that was more just like a choice, you know what I mean? Where we did like a PowerPoint again, but like split into different parts. So each of us did one different part, and then we put all our information together. And in the end, but what I'm going to talk about is like sometimes we do get told to use different documents. Like for example, for like a lot of classes in our college anyway, we use Slay, which is like an online site. Not an online site. It's just like an online. I don't know how you explain it. It's like PowerPoint but Slay. You get what I mean? Basically, it's like a bit at the end where you can put pictures in, and then you have to like type in information. Usually, like, but yeah, basically what you do is you put in the title of the thing that you want to like talk about, and then you do like your information underneath and write lots. Like I said, it's kind of hard to explain. I'd probably have to show it, but we did use Slay a lot. So you may sometimes get told to use different kind of documents and different websites and that to do your work, but that's kind of me going on about the main things. But the next thing I want to talk about is like cutting down word count, because I understand how stressful it can be at H&C. Basically with word count, so for example, to cut down words, what you can do is use shorter different words. Some words that we use a lot in our essays is words like that and the and even. Sometimes these words aren't necessary and you can cut them out. You can always get someone a second pair of eyes to look through it for you and see if they can find ways to cut down the words for you. Like for example, I was really shown to cut down the words on my psychology assignment, so Jade helped me cut it down, and we managed to get down to the word limit, which was really good. So you can do things like that as well. But yeah, I understand this time of year is really stressful. There's so many assignments, so much work to submit, and I get that it's really stressful. And you're going to get so fed up with writing essays by the end of the year. Honestly, I used to love writing books and love writing essays and everything as a child, but now I'm like, to my H&C year, I'm so fed up with writing essays that I haven't written one in ages, and I don't plan on writing one in a very long time because it was that stressful. But I understand all the stress you're going through, but just remember to reach out to people. Don't go through this alone like I did. Talk to your lecturers, talk to your family, friends, people you're close with. Everyone's here to support you, and we all want the best for you, and we know you want the best for yourself as well. So don't suffer alone. There may be a lot of work to do, there may be a lot of pressure, but your mental health always comes first at the end of the day, and especially on a social science courses is mental health related. They will totally get that. They have to be health first sometimes. So don't fear like asking for extensions if the workload gets too much or too overwhelming, or like just like, but yeah, don't worry about it. Like there is a lot of assignments to get through, and I can guarantee you that you're not going to pass every assignment first time, even if you did level 6, because the workload is massive and it's so hard that you're going to get a lot of remediation. You will, or at least get at some point, you know. So be prepared for that. Be prepared to have to like add in extra information, take information out, cut down word counts all the time. Have to change your references up, because you might find you get your references wrong first time around, which is obviously easy to do as well because there's a lot to do. It takes a wee bit of time for referencing to click, and they don't expect to be perfectionists at this at the start, by the way. In-text reference comes at like every single point. I had this thing of just putting it in when I finished using that article, but I was meant to use it at every point, so there's that as well. The lectures and everyone is there for you, and you'll learn as you go along. Remember, this is a learning curve, so you make mistakes, that's okay, as long as you like learn from them, you know. But just know that it is a tough time of year, and there will be a lot of assignments coming out at once, particularly if you're on H&C. And social science is one of the hardest like subjects to be doing like academically, because of the amount of like workload and assignments you have to do at once. So they really do empathize with you, because there is so much to get done. But just know that you do matter, and if it's getting too much, you can reach out. And don't forget that. And I'm always here as well if you want to talk, because I understand the stress you're going through, because it really, really got to me earlier this year, to the point that it really badly affected my mental health, and I got bad burnout, and to the point that I was even crying some days. and barely sleeping, so I get it, I totally do. So don't feel afraid to reach out to me because I can totally relate. So I'm probably the best person you can reach out to, quite honest with you, or one of them at least. But yeah, don't suffer alone. Please reach out. Also, sorry, I thought I went through all the essay and assessment types, but turns out I've actually forgotten about one, which I think is actually really important to mention. I think I forgot about because I did it in level 6 as well, but I realised that some people don't actually do level 6 social science and go straight to HNC. But this will help for a lot of levels and a lot of classes anyway. But you actually have to do a kind of a presentation for cancelling, like for the cancelling roleplay. Well, it's not really a presentation, but you kind of have to team up with a couple of people or whatever, and you basically have to be a canceller. You have to do a presentation basically. So basically, it's like you're in a cancelling setting. For example, you're the canceller. You have to say, "Hello, my name is Lauren. I'm here to cancel you today. What are your issues or whatever?" And then the counsellor will say, "Well, I'm having a really bad time with mental health at the moment. I'm having a lot of struggles, my anxiety, and trying to keep myself calm and everything." And the other person kind of just um takes the information and looks at what the counsellor is doing well and whatever. But yeah, this is quite an important aspect. You need to pass this to get your HNC if you happen to take cancelling, that is, or for any class as well, because you might have to do presenting in other classes as well. Because when we're level 5, we were originally going to be doing a presentation for my graffiti project, actually for criminology, because I decided to investigate in that crime because that's one that you can either get into big trouble with, or it can be not get into trouble at all. So it's kind of one of those misleading crimes. I did something on that, and it was quite interesting. But unfortunately, I didn't get to present it due to COVID. But sometimes you do have to do presentations when you're at uni and college, so it's good for me to have a speak over this. Like I said, I didn't get to present much, obviously, due to COVID, but I did do a presentation thing for communication level 5, but I did it over a call. But sometimes you do need to do presenting, so, and sometimes these assignments are requirements to pass. I passed the cancel assignment really first time easily this year because I did it in level 6, so I was kind of used to it and knew what I was doing. I was anxious about it because I didn't get any practice time due to all my stress, my HNC, and I found that I was getting such bad burnout I didn't have the time to do it because I had other things, but I managed to do a really good job at it. So the practice from level 6 must have paid off, and I must have learnt so much that I was able to do well in HNC 1. So, but I thought it was important to talk about this because you will have to do presenting at some point. But it is very nerve-wracking presenting, but as long as you're prepared and you have everything written down and you know what you're talking about, you will do fab, and you'll pass no problems. So, but obviously for the cancelling one, we can have information written down, but obviously we can't be looking down at paper all the time, because it kind of takes away from the conversation. Since when you're a cancer, you won't constantly looking at paper, you'll be focusing your clients. So, but I thought I'd talk about that as well. And also be aware if you are doing the HNC in social science this year, you might have to do a bit of maths for methodology, from just a wee bit of maths, some standard deviation in the final assignment, as well as some you have to do some graphs and that. But once you get, obviously it's a while till that happens, so that's one of the last assignments, but I thought I'd make you aware of that as well. When it comes to time assignments, I don't know how that works this year, because last year we had 2 assignments that were timed on criminology and sociology, current convenience quiz, but which were both 24 hours and done at home. But I don't know if it'd be different this year because my boyfriend's back on campus full time, so I presume every other course is back on campus at least part time, so I don't know how it'll work with timed assignments this year. If they'll still do it 24 hours, or it'll be back to how it was before COVID, just an hour or 2 hour assignment or whatever it was, and possibly even closed book. I don't know if they're going to just keep them open book, or I don't know how it's going to work this year, so I can't really talk much about timed assignments because I only had 2 and they were 24 hours, so that was more than plenty of time. Still under pressure, but it was more than plenty of time, so I don't know how that's all going to work, but I'm sure they'll talk you through all that. But that's all the advice that I can give you guys in assignments anyway from my time in HNC. Like I said, I know it can change and other courses will be different in ways, but I hope this will help a lot of you in some ways, I hope. So thank you everyone for watching this vlog. I really hope this helped you guys. I know like it'll probably be different for people this year due to being on campus more and all that. So I don't know how it's all going to work, but I do really hope that you'll have a good year on college, because the year does go fast. Believe me, as soon as you know it, you'll be at university or on a gap year like me, or going on to HNDs or whatever. So enjoy it while it lasts. And for those in level 5 and 6, it'll go fast for you as well. So definitely enjoy it. And good luck as well. I hope you all do well in your assignments. Just remember, like, your first attempt at assignment is important. Again, I don't know how it's going to work. They're going to grade on first time assignments, or they're going to do it in a different way this year. I don't know, but even if it doesn't go well in your first attempt, just know that everyone's gonna essay they struggle with at some point. It's totally normal. But you're gonna have essays and bits of work that you do well in as well. And just because you get remediation doesn't mean you've not done well. You could have done really well in your first attempt. It's just one time bit didn't quite meet the requirement, or it wasn't quite worded properly, or whatever. But yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this blog, and I'll be back for another blog the week after. It'll be a fun blog. Woohoo! But yeah, bye for now. And also, thank you so much for all the lovely comments on my Instagram poll for my YouTube feedback. It was really kind of you seeing your comments, and I noticed that a lot of people seem to be really enjoying my channel from what they said, so I'm really, really pleased with the outcome. And I'm going to be sticking more to mental health and autism blogs next year, due to the fact that most people vote for that. I do specialise in that anyway, since my page is Autistic Lauren, so it kind of like connects with what I'm doing. But I'm still going to do fun blogs, just maybe a bit less when it goes into next year. But I decided that this month it'll just be like mostly fun blogs, and next month will be just serious blogs, and December will be Christmassy blogs, since I'm a massive fan of Christmas, so I want to do lots of Christmas blogs. But yeah, I thought I'd just make my YouTube subscribers aware of that, so that some of you may not be on my Instagrams, or may have not seen the polls, so you may not know about it. But yeah, and I'm really sticking to once a week filming, since most people went for that as well over the 2 weeks filming. So you'll be seeing a video from me every week when I can. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this anyway, and I'll see you for my next vlog.